Hello, we are back on the Field Coach Experts podcast. And I'm here with Jen Brannon today, and we're ready to share some exciting tips and ways that you can unlock the hidden profitability in your franchise system through high performing field coaches and getting the right structures and frameworks in place. Today's topic is franchise support effectiveness. Of course, one of our favorite things to talk about. And so, Jen, are you ready to jump right in?
I'm all ready. Looking forward to it.
Okay, these are always fun for us because we get to talk nerdy together and we know how each other thinks, but sometimes new little things come out, which is exciting. So the first thing on my mind is like we just got back from Let's Grow Canada, our first time attending that, and we got the opportunity. We got to be quite involved with sharing a workshop session and then a keynote the next day. And so I guess maybe let's start with what's standing out to you from the conversations you had at Let's Grow when you're talking to people and asking them about their franchise and what's going well, what's not going well. What stood out to you in those conversations?
I think one thing, and it Let's Grow is no different, but all franchisors quite often are struggling with the same thing, and they think that their system is different or really unique. And then you get them in a room like at a conference, and it makes people feel like they're not alone, that we're all dealing with the same things and we all have the same struggles, supporting our franchisees or with certain issues or elements or, growth or whatever it is. And so it's really fun to see people kind of like aha moments when it comes to that, because and then they can learn so much from each other at these conferences, and everyone's always like taking tons of notes to take back to their systems, which I absolutely love, because we are big learners here at AC Inc.
Yeah, and I hear this a lot about franchisors, like you say, at conferences and even just at the end of our roundtables. Sometimes, when I ask for key takeaways, a common one is, I'm so glad I'm not alone, or I'm so glad I'm not the only one. Why do you think that is? Like, why do you think that's so helpful to us as humans, when we hear that? Like, why does it's like, okay, now I feel better because everyone else is making the same mistakes? Like, why does that make them feel better, do you think?
I think it is. It's you kind of think that you're alone. I did as a franchisee some of the time, right? You're on your own little island, and I think it just makes people feel better that I am not the only one, and the other people maybe experience what I'm experiencing and figured it out, or at least maybe didn't figure it all out, but at least learned some things and put some things into place. And so then I can do that too. I can figure it out for my system. And everyone deals with, different types of personalities and franchisees. And I just thought I was attracting maybe the wrong people or whatever it might be. And I think it just makes people feel better and then gives them that hope that they can figure it out.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with the hope. Because I find it really interesting when you hear that statement. I feel less alone. I'm like, why is that so good? Like, in myself included, I say that at different times as well. Like, oh my gosh, it's not just me. But yeah, I think it's that hope, and then it's that, okay, I'm not the only one doing these things, like you said, attracting the wrong franchisees or whatever. Like, this is normal. And then, okay, we're all in this together sort of feeling, I guess. But I think it's just whatever it is. I think it's great seeing people feel like, okay, I can go back out there and keep going and do this. So definitely the beauty of conferences and collaboration with other franchisors. I'm trying to think what stood out for me in terms of my conversations with people. I think they were definitely very interested in AI. Yes. There's a lot of AI buzz, which is good because, and I guess one of the themes I heard when it came to the AI is how many people were like, oh, I'm so behind, when they hear. But you have to remember when you're hearing the speaker talk, that person is the speaker for a reason, right? Of course they're ahead.
Yes.
And, so I think anyone that either is listening to this now or feels or felt that way, like you probably are a little bit behind. Sorry, but it's not too late, it's like, start to figure this stuff out. So
yeah, for sure. It's a big topic. I just want to say before we move on, one of my favorite things also about it was all of the shout outs that you got from different people in the franchising community, and not just you, but kind of Angela and her team. That was really fun to be recognized as a leader in helping brands with their franchisee support and their coaching programs and all of that kind of stuff. That was really fun because I know we weren't in the same sessions a lot, but it happened all over the place. So I loved that. That was really fun.
I actually didn't catch that as much as you did, so it's fun to hear that. So now, kind of, well, I'll ask you offline more specifically if there's anything that we should know, because it's good. The thing about shout outs, and whether that's at a conference or on LinkedIn, sometimes I get someone that either direct messages me or puts in a comment something like, this is inspiring me to do this or that, or whatever it is. As much as it sounds kind of fluffy, it really does fuel me, and I think as the leader of the team, I need to have a lot of fuel. Like I need to be fueled to then continue to help the team. And not that I really need to. These people on our team, you and everyone, of course, everyone's massively driven by our mission and very purpose driven and all of that, which is something I've never seen. Like the way that our team. Just collaborates and respects each other despite the fact that we're remote. But yeah, shout outs are good for fueling, I would say. So
Yeah, and I think what today's topic is really is we're being teed up because what our mission is basically what we're talking about today, right?
yeah.
Is how to help brands with their franchise support effectiveness. Of course, we talk a lot about coaching. And making sure that your coaches have the skills and you've got a coaching framework and that kind of thing. But there's a lot more beyond just the coaching. Not that we want to put it to the side, but I think we are going to a little bit on today's episode, because we do talk about it so much in other episodes, and really talk about those other elements that together make a really robust franchisee support program that can really be effective to build all of the things that we want to build in our systems to help our franchisees be happy, profitable, and growing.
I love that you pointed it out that way, because I think we've been working really hard to help franchisors understand that support, that the missing piece is the coaching, and not just coaching, but strategic growth coaching. Right. And so I think we've kind of intentionally not talked about all the other things, because we're trying to really shine a light on this missing piece, like this really big missing piece. But it is kind of fun. Now we get to talk about some of those other things. And I guess maybe one thing I'll just throw in right off the bat is, before we start talking about that, I would encourage people to stop and think right now, maybe even pause after I finish this sentence. But when you think of franchisee support, what do you think of? When I first started this company that I didn't know was going to be a company, I was going to go do some consulting or whatever, and I would talk to people. Well, tell me what you do for franchise. Well, like, what do you mean by franchisee support? Because in my mind, I had a vision of what that was, but at the time, like, I'd only really been exposed to the one brand. So I don't know if it's the same as everyone else. And so then, the answer I would get is, we do everything for them.
Right.
And I'd be like, oh, okay, awesome. Sounds like you don't need me then. Like, well, why are you talking to me about your problems then? What's, like, if you do everything, then why aren't they successful? Like, why are not 100% of your franchise, or at least 90, because or maybe even say we'll go 80%, because maybe 20% were the wrong fit, or they're disengaged, or even if it was 70%. How many franchisors can truthfully, honestly say that like 70% of their franchisees are totally optimizing this franchise opportunity and optimizing their market and just acting perfectly up here? Probably not too many could say, like, even 10% might be a hard number to, like, we always talk about top performers even could get better. So if everybody's doing everything, why aren't more franchisees in that situation?
Yeah, so that's exactly right. I think we even did some polls when we were at the conference last week that showed us how people were feeling about their franchisee support and the room for improvement. So why don't we jump into that, Ange? What are some of the things that you have seen in brands that we've worked with, or lessons that even on our roundtables we hear that some of those franchise systems that are really really doing it well. What are some of the elements that they have
Yeah.
in their
Yeah,
systems?
so I'll throw out some and then you can add some in.
Sure.
And so yeah, get your note paper out, folks, because if these are things to check. What I would sort of caution anybody though that doing all these things and avoiding improving your coaching isn't it's not either or. Like you still, and
Yes.
we'll maybe talk a little bit more about the coaching side and the human element of that, but these are things to check in on whether you're doing or not. But at the end of the day, like, would I trade some of these things you have to have? But if you had to weigh it out, like maybe we'll get into that. But like, would you not invest over here to invest in proper coaching? There might be some things that you wouldn't need to do. So I don't know if we're going to get to that, but okay. So when I then ask people what do you do, and they say we do everything for them. So I'll just throw out some examples. I'm actually just thinking about the keynote that I got to deliver at Let's Grow, where I put up a slide that showed all these answers. So I'm just kind of going to think about that right now. A big one. Oh, we do initial site selection, and we have a full onboarding checklist process for them from the minute they sign to when they get open. And I will say to some people that everything all happens before the franchisee opens. When they say we do everything, I don't know if you've seen that, but that's scary. When they say we do everything, and then I go, well, what about once they open? And then they go, well, we have really good training. We have really good training, and we have a really good LMS, a learning management system, that they can go take courses on, and they can go learn whatever they want. Now, side note, in case you don't know, franchisees don't usually just go take the courses. Like you hear all the time, why franchisees don't use the LMS, they don't use the resources we give them. So good to have that. But anyway, that was just something that hit me right now. Just people often think of all the support as just until they get open. So big red flag there. But yeah, so initial training, I mentioned site selection, marketing assets. We hear that one. We provide the marketing assets, which you probably should, so that you make sure it stays consistent. We vetted out the software so that we've got a great CRM and a POS. If they're a retailer, they need POS. And I've seen brands, in the early days go through 3 or 4 different versions because till they found the right one, so the franchisee doesn't have to go figure that out. So that's good. KPI benchmarks. We tell them their KPI benchmarks, and we've got a dashboard. That's another piece, right? We've got a dashboard for them. Quick pause here to give a shout out to our sponsor for this episode, Citron Cooperman. They're a full service professional services firm with a dedicated franchise practice, working with both franchisors and multi-unit franchisees. From required FDD financial statement audits to tax work and advisory services like quality of earnings reports, valuations, outsourced CFO support, and financial software automation, Citron Cooperman really understands the financial side of franchising. What I genuinely appreciate about the Citron Cooperman team is how invested they are in this space. They've been active in the IFA for years. They show up at the conferences across the country, and they take the time to understand franchise systems and the people behind them. If you're a franchisor looking for a financial partner who actually gets franchising, Citron Cooperman is absolutely worth knowing. You can find them at citroncooperman.com. What else has come to your mind when you think of support?
Yeah, those are all great, and it's our kind of word of advice is just because you have it doesn't mean your franchisees are going to use it. So the greater question is, how are you helping your franchisees or empowering your franchisees to actually use what you have? You can't take out that human element. You may have a great LOS, but are you having, coaching or onboarding team members that are hand in hand helping that franchisee keep on track and things like that? And initial training. Are we really, one of the things, again, not to beat a dead horse, I think that's the phrase, because we talk a lot we've talked a lot in other podcasts around really making sure that your training is just not a one-time thing, that
Yeah.
you are constantly offering training opportunities to your franchisees on business skills and leadership and staffing, and also any operational things that maybe they need reminders on as well. But group training, LMS, great, but as much of the in-person stuff as possible. And in person, it can be on Zoom. I just mean bringing franchisees together. Collaboration. That is a key element of a effective franchisee support program, is bringing your franchisees together as much as possible on regular meetings and town halls and committees and learning groups and trainings and, at conferences and general meetings and all of these different things, roundtables, whatever it might be. We want to be with each other. We want to learn from each other, because we all, like I said, a lot of times as franchisees, feel like we're on our own little island. And so a good program for franchisees brings them together so that they can also learn from one another. And that helps build culture. Having a great culture of transparency, collaboration, learning, positivity, all of those things are really important. And that the next kind of C to that culture and collaboration is communication. One of the things, I was on a call last week with a franchisor, and he was telling me some of what he wants to do, which is, every Monday record a 5-minute video to get the franchisees off to a great week. And he said, I'm going to do that. I want the motivation. I want to tell them some of the important tidbits or news or new initiatives or whatever. And I said to him, I love it. Don't be like a lot of franchise systems, and that you stop doing it when you get too big, because
Yeah.
franchisees want to hear from the founder as
Even
well as
more important.
everybody else. Yeah, sometimes even more, because you get farther away from them. So
Yeah.
that collaboration that communication, making sure that we're not just sending emails to our franchisees with our news. We need to see it multiple times in multiple different ways. I think they said 7 or something. It's kind of
Yeah.
like marketing, right?
When
It's
you
got to
think
be
that they've seen it, do it one more time. They said.
exactly. Everybody's saying the same thing. Like, these big things, we can't let our franchisees say, "Oh, I never knew that I was supposed to do that," or "This was happening," right? We've got to really get around that by kind of over and above communicating at times with franchisees. So making sure that they have an opportunity to talk to each other, like a really robust Slack
Yeah. Yeah. I was
program,
going to
is
say that.
great. We've mentioned
Yeah.
that. Those are just kind of a few more. One thing I think also is you mentioned having a good CRM or LMS, POS, whatever it is those things have to be strong. And an important thing is that we are keeping up with the times. That as AI, you mentioned it at the top of our call, as AI comes in, that we are seeing how can AI help our franchisees and help our system, whether it's that communication piece or so on. One of the things that we love and we recommend, and because we believe in it so much, is our friends at Easy Assist, right? So Easy
Yeah.
Assist is a platform. It's an AI based platform. I know a lot of franchisors out there are listening, and I'm sure you maybe have a ticketing system. You've got maybe a Google Drive or an intranet. Well, as a franchisee, I would always, and now I'm telling all my bad secrets, how I wasn't always the greatest franchisee, but I'm like, I don't know where that thing is. I don't know. It's on the intranet somewhere. I'm not going to look. I'm going to call my coach and bug them instead. Right. And so this Easy Assist is an AI platform that actually it'll be linked to your everything, your intranet, your library, your Google Drive, wherever you're keeping all of the things. And if I have a need, I just type it in and it brings it to me.
Yeah.
If I want an asset on marketing, like, 2-for-1 special, it brings it to me. It's really, really cool. And it's one of those things, there's lots of other platforms out there that are new, coming in, but Easy Assist is one that we know we've recommended
Yeah.
to, because they're friends of the brands, because we believe in them so much. And we have had lots of people in our community adopt them
Love
and use them. Right,
and
Ann?
love. Yeah, so yeah, it comes up all the time at our roundtables, where people are like, how can we help the field teams, the franchise support teams, be able to do this strategic growth coaching, be able to actually do the business skills training and coaching. Well, if you could get all those redundant questions off their plates and make it easy for the franchisee, Easy Assist, get it? If anybody's thinking, what is this Easy Assist? By the way, it's spelled Z, like EZ in Canada, we would say.
Yeah.
EZEE, assist. But if that can take a lot of time, save time for the franchise support team, then the franchisee gets their answers and they're happy. Then they can do proper business coaching calls and that sort of thing.
Right.
I just want to really emphasize that the way that it's not like another app or another platform. The franchisee, whatever your franchisees are most comfortable with, and so that could be email, could be Slack, whatever they're used to. If you do have a communication hub, like you were talking earlier about making sure you have like the communication, which you want to make sure you have two-way communication, wherever that is. Maybe that's where your franchisees are getting the answer. So it makes it super easy. And yeah, and then it also just gets you using AI, in a way that's actually helping you move the needle with franchisees. So yeah, and by the way, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, within it, it's also got a ticketing system.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get rid of whatever you have, and it will, if it can't give you the answer, then it'll say, hey, do you want to create a ticket? And that way that ticket goes to your coach or marketing or whoever it's supposed to go to, so that the franchisee knows, okay, I'm not getting my answer right now, but somebody is going to get in touch with me. It's really,
I mean, sounds like we could go on forever about this, but
yeah.
like also, I love that it flags if you can see if there's questions being asked repeatedly. Oh, maybe we need to fix our training. Maybe we're not being super clear about that.
Right,
So like,
good point.
and there's lots of other data you get out of it. And so if people are like, well, why wouldn't I just sort of do that myself? Well, there's a lot more to it than just answering the questions, but they've also got a way to do it so that your information is secure and they partner. So yeah, we hear great things from everybody that we know that's been working with Easy Assist. So that's a great one. Going back to so let's just kind of realign or kind of where we're at here. So we're talking about all the different elements of support. So we talked about all the initial training and site selection and all the acronyms: CRM, POS, LMS. I heard you say, and I didn't stop you because you were on a good train. You said LOS at one point. So I hope I hope people aren't going on Chat GPT right now. But what is an LOS?
LMS.
Yeah, all just coming together. But yeah, so we've talked about a lot: KPIs, dashboards, I love the three C's, like the communication, collaboration, and what was the other one? Culture. So providing a great culture that can include having accountability meetings and core values that are strong, that you live and breathe by, that you work into your system. So there's a lot of things. Is there anything else you want to point out
one thing that came to me when I was thinking about communication also is quite oftentimes we think about communication as we, the franchisor, are going to communicate with our franchisees. But then the question is, what about the communication back, right? Like that kind of feedback loop.
Yes.
We want to make sure that our franchisees feel like they can ask questions, give suggestions, give feedback on different things. I think, and I'm going to mess this up, but I feel like, the blizzard at Dairy Queen was a franchisee's idea or something, something like that,
Big
right?
Mac at McDonald's is
the Big Mac, these different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, not suggesting that we're going to change our model or anything like that, but maybe you will. Maybe you will add different products. Just not being so closed off to any of that, being open, but being clear with your franchisees. Doesn't mean we're going to do anything with it, but we do want to hear from you. and we want your feedback. We want your ideas. Having a great franchise advisory council
Yes,
is
that's
always
another one.
a good thing to have as
Yeah.
far as communication and messaging and hearing from the franchisees in a very structured way. That's a really good one as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then another I was thinking, sorry, I'm just rhyming them off because they're popping up in my
Yeah.
brain, is one of the things, and this might other franchise systems may disagree with me, and I think that's okay because we
I
all have our
like it
own.
already.
I know. But I
Let's see
think
what it is.
we get really stuck in franchisees, you have to use our vendors and our suppliers. And we can walk a fine line with that because I think there's the case that we have to protect our brand standards, and our marketing and our branding without a doubt. But I think it's what I've seen a lot of times is it's potentially caused some rifts. And is there a way that, let's say, a franchisee could get a local vendor using the files from corporate or something to get it at the price that they want to get it at, or something like that? Like, that's just something to examine. Just because things have always been a certain way in franchising, as we know, that doesn't always mean it's the right way, and it maybe isn't the right way for you. So I guess our recommendation is maybe just be open-minded with that and really, really look at what's going to be best for your franchisees and your system as a whole to make
Yeah.
those decisions. And if you're going to do that, things are changing all the time. You need to then be looking, because we franchisees, we care about the best price.
Yeah.
And the convenience and all of these things. And so if you're going to stick with your vendors or your suppliers, make sure you're examining them often,
Yeah.
just to make sure that we're not missing better deals or changes in the industry or things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think so vendors can be a piece of the support because they're pre-vetted and all of that, but then having some leeway. And my suggestion to franchisors would be whether or not, like you said, is it a branding issue? If it is, then you have to figure out a way to still be able to monitor that. But also, if the company gets volume buying power by using certain vendors, that might be a reason to encourage franchisees to use that vendor, so it helps everybody in the system. So I feel like that's another whole conversation.
Communicate that.
Yeah,
Communicate.
exactly.
Right?
If
We
you're
always say
communicating,
explain the why to people so they understand. If you don't explain the why,
Mhm.
then we're over here going, well, why do I have to use this vendor? I want to use my local vendor, right? But if I know, it's because we collectively get a better price, and and we can be sure of the quality and blah blah blah.
Yeah, exactly. The communication we were talking about here is a big one. The two-way, the back and forth. I love, like, going back a couple minutes ago, you were talking about the feedback loop. That in itself is a piece of support. Yes. And can't emphasize enough, like you said, making sure they know we're going to take the feedback. We're going to maybe show it to the FAC if we have one, but we're not necessarily going to. We might not be able to do it. You love the line here. We can do anything, but we can't do everything. So helping franchisees see it that way, maybe. Okay, so these are all good. And the one other one, I think in the interest of time, we should, unless any more is popping in your head, but one more I want to point out is my favorite one. They can text or call us anytime.
Oh, and
Right?
are you saying this should be a policy at a franchise?
No, I'm saying it shouldn't be. Oh, no, what I meant to say, thank you for clarifying that. No, what I meant to say is what franchisors tell us their support is. Thank you. You caught me on that. You knew where I was trying to go with that. That if franchisor, we ask them, hundreds of brands we work with all the time, like when we start, when they're telling us I can't get my franchisees to follow the systems, I can't get them to be business owners, I can't get them to get out there in their community, and we go, okay, well, what does your support look like? Start to tell us a little bit about that, and then they list all these things, some of the things we mentioned, POS, all these things, and then they say, and they can call us anytime. They can call us if they need us, and so that's another whole conversation for another day. Maybe we have talked about that in past episodes about proper field franchisee support is about having like structure and boundaries, and that protects everybody, not just the coach, but the time, like the franchisee, it makes them more empowered, like somewhere in our episodes, go look.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, for sure.
right, that's
Mhm,
that's a whole different topic. But
mhm,
but what I like to bring up, and I had the opportunity to say this at Let's Grow, I was talking about franchisees who, when I was in that field support role. And by the way, anybody that's listening, if you're hearing us say field support, that could be over Zoom. Like we just use that because it's very generic. So
mhm,
whether it's like you do Zoom calls or you actually go into the field with the franchisees. Back when I was in that role, there was a couple that, like a franchisee couple that, we were giving them all that, but yet they were open just over a year and yet still struggling.
mhm.
And so our kind of point here too is, if we're giving them all these things, can we go here now, Jen?
Sure.
Okay. I mean, we can always come back to anything else that's still on
Mhm,
your mind, but like if we're giving them all these things, then why aren't more of our franchisees fully optimizing their market? Like if you look at all your franchisees, and this is the question I asked with the polls, right? Was what percentage of your franchisees are like smooth sailing, loving the brand? Because this was a little bit of a friend dev focused conference.
mhm,
How many of them are telling everyone about how awesome this is? As how many of them are actually ambassadors of the brand and wanting wanting another territory? And okay, by the way, the guy that said like 100 or something, he told me later. He goes, "I'm so sorry, that was me. I'm a supplier, and I was trying to be funny." So I was like, and he wouldn't put it. He was too shy to put his hand up when I said, "Who
Mm,
said 100?" But the numbers of franchisees that are in that category of everything's great, and they not only are they happy, but they're actually optimizing their market, it's not that high. And then my next question, to pull out the real truth, and I said, like, this is anonymous, no one knows who's saying what
mhm,
here, which is why the guy probably thought it would be funny to say 100%. But when I asked them, how many of your franchisees are successfully running multiple locations? Like, if they're so successful, then they would be wanting more. If there's
mhm.
ROI and they're good at it and all that. Um, so yeah, like if that's the question for people. If you're listening to this, like maybe pause for a minute and stop and think. Like, if we're giving them all these things, and maybe we're even doing like coaching calls. If you're on listening, I'm putting quotes around that because often what
Mhm.
people think is coaching is just getting on a call and then answering questions and telling them their KPIs. What is missing?
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of times that's the case. They've got a lot of these pieces in place, but then it's the how are you utilizing them from the human element standpoint. Who do you have? What coaches do you have in place that are helping the franchisees using these things to help them do what they need to do? We've got marketing assets and a marketing playbook. Great. Are your franchisees using it? Usually no. Okay, how is that built into your coaching of your franchisees? Right? Same
Yeah,
with the KPI dashboard and any of these other things.
yeah.
So,
And
uh,
I think if anybody's listening and they're going, oh, okay, so like in case we're not being clear, first of all, we're saying that it's the person that does the franchisee support is the one that can get them using all these things, but
mhm,
only if that person really understands what coaching is and how to do it and has the skills and has the resources themselves to get franchisees. And gee, I wonder where they could get that. But if you're wondering what we mean by like, okay, so this is the missing piece. Here it is. Drum roll. It's the it's the human element, which by that I mean the proper, strategic growth coaching. Whether you want to go do that
mhm,
yourself or use how we do it, it's creating the trust, creating the buy-in with franchisees and the relationship and how to do that. Because if those two franchises, that couple that I mentioned earlier, had that were struggling, just they were only open just over a year, and we were giving them all these things, and I was going there to see them, but nobody taught me how to get them to follow the systems and all those things. If somebody had, and I could have done that, then like that, if I could have really had that human to human relationship, that they would believe in me, that believe in my credibility and listen to me, then I could have totally got them bought into doing all the things they needed to do. So the missing piece is we call it the human element. And you might be coaching, but is it effective, like strategic growth coaching? And that's what people need to take a look at. So if you're like, what is that? Then you got to go find that in a prior episode. What that means, we always try to give away tips that you can go take and do no matter what. So we love if we could work with people, but if you're like, I want to do this myself, go listen to the episodes. You'll pick up there's always some takeaways that you can go try yourself. So Jen, before we get to the Go Be Awesome Challenge, what are your final thoughts on all of this?
Well, I was thinking that I could tee you up for what's coming next in your podcast hosting by asking you a question. You know, Angela, if franchisors want to understand if their support is working or not, what might they do?
Oh,
I was thinking if you're trying to see if you're going to catch on.
okay, well, there's a couple things. Well, the first thing that popped into my head was they need to do a bit of an audit. So that could be a Go Be Awesome challenge. Just go and within the next 30 days, go take less than that really. I should say 2 weeks. Go and find out what's happening on your calls. And then, I guess that's kind of a little bit off topic of the support, but then again, coming back to like we had all these things, but it wasn't working. Take a look at who's in the role. Is that where you're going with this?
No, I'm actually, you are right though. Like audit your system and see what's what. No, it was because of your next guest. I was peeking at your calendar and I saw who your next guest.
Oh, you mean today? Who I'm, oh, yes. I see where you're going. Okay. So what's happening here?
I didn't warn you on that. So that was unfair.
I love it. I was thinking, because I know the next topic, and that's
right.
We won't share that yet. It'll be like a surprise. Yeah. But what you're talking about is go survey your system. Use FBR. Yeah. Use Franchise Business Review. So
survey your franchisees around your franchisee support program.
Find out their satisfaction. Yeah,
they will tell you.
Yeah, they will tell you. And so speaking of earlier, we talked about Easy Assist, FBR, Franchise Business Review is another great partner of AC Inc. that really, they're helping franchisors understand what's going on in the system. And even if sometimes that information can be hard to hear, it's what's going to help us know what needs to be fixed. So yeah, that's a great point. Mm-hmm. There you go. Okay, well, what I thought you were doing, and I'll still just say this, is also another Go Be Awesome challenge, is go look at who you have in the role of the support as well. Mm-hmm. And what level of skills and coaching and training do they have to be able to get the franchisee to use all of the support elements that we've talked about today. Because we at AC Inc. strongly, and actually Michelle, Rowan, FBR, they'll say the exact same thing. The hardest job in franchising, we all believe, is the person supporting franchisees, which we sort of call the field coach or FBC. It's not only the hardest job, but it's the most important job. And it is the job that is responsible for driving franchisee success, getting them to use the tools and resources and support that you have. So if you're not putting enough attention on that, that could be the problem right there. Yep. So go look at that and make an assessment and maybe get them some support. Actually, that's a perfect segue into if they need support. We've got everything from free roundtables. Mm-hmm. For anybody that supports franchisees. We do them every week and there's no commitment required. We just put them on the invite and they get a topic email sent out on Mondays and they show up when they can and learn from each other free, because I would have loved to have that when I was in that role, and all the way to our full certification program, which we call the Accelerator, where they can get all of these skills throughout the period of 5 months. Coaches can invest in themselves, or the franchisor can invest in them to get those skills. Mm-hmm. So reach out to us if you're looking for how can we get our coaches to actually get franchisees to use these tools and resources.
We can help you implement strategic growth coaching into your system. I would be happy to get on a call with anyone who wants to learn about AC Inc. and what we do. Jennifer at fieldcoachexperts.com.
There you go, Jennifer at fieldcoachexperts.com. Reach out to Jen. And I guess we're good to go. So we look forward to talking to you and we look forward to our next episode. But in the meantime, go be awesome.